Do you see the doll? There in the corner, amongst the others. They all have that thin layer of dust on their corpse-like hair. All except for that one. The one that's given you a bad feeling since the first day. All except for that one are covered in dust. That one. The one you think you just saw move. But really, that does not match the tone of the new Child's Play movie. Remember Child's Play? No, not that one. That's right. That one. The one that was in theaters for about a month, and then everybody forgot about it. Yeah, that one. Today I'm going to be talking about that one. Why? Because it was actually pretty good. So before we actually get into it, I want to kind of talk about the original Child's Play franchise for only a moment. The idea for the franchise came to screenwriter Don Mancini, while he was studying film at UCLA. He had a number of inspirations. For example, the Zuni doll, which appears in the horror short Amelia, in the made-for-TV horror anthology film Trilogy of Terror. Quite problematic, if we're being honest. He was also inspired by Twilight Zone, Season 5, Episode 6, The Living Doll.
My name is Talkie Tina, and I'm beginning to hate you.
He also claims to have gotten inspiration from the cannibalistic consumerism of Cabbage Patch Kids. That's my little alliteration, not his exact words.
Okay, let's see what's inside here. Oh, here he comes. It's a little boy. Bit of powder, make him smell beautiful. Like little people. It's not as if you're just going into a shop and buying a doll and walking out. Do you think that there's any psychological implications about the dolls, that there could be bad effects from thinking that it's like a real baby? Does anyone really believe that? Are you going to treat her as a real baby? Yes. You are? Why? No. You just think that she's like a real baby? Yeah. What makes her like a real baby, do you think? She looks like one.
Although the first film in the franchise was certainly more playful than straight up horrifying.
Andy, no! Please! We're friends to the end, remember?
This is the end, friend.
It still contains a number of genuinely unsettling moments. Fun fact, the original script was titled Blood Buddy, and that the good guy dolls were actually filled with fake blood, which I would not complain about. It sounds like a wonderful feature for the kids. Andy would accidentally spill some of his own blood into the doll's blood, causing it to embody Andy's aggression, and therefore start killing people that Andy didn't like. It was going to all play out like more of a mystery, where there was some ambiguity as to whether it was Andy or the doll doing the killing. Some element of that I think remains in the final script, where Andy is being framed for Chucky's murders. Although this whole idea of the doll being an extension of the user's held back aggression is kind of an old one. Most iconically, we see the idea present in the 1978 film Magic, starring Anthony Hopkins as a ventriloquist. In the film, he's actually coerced by his dummy into killing people. In reality, this dummy is an embodiment of his id, which I think is quite a cool concept.
Josephine Levine presents Magic, a terrifying love story, starring Anthony Hopkins, Anne Margaret, and Burgess Meredith. Rated R.
Anyway, back to Child's Play. From the very beginning, the films were not really focused on being 100% horror films. They kept this sort of fun playfulness to them. From the setting, concept, and execution, you can really tell that the creators were just having a fun time with it all. You can really tell this attitude persisted throughout at least the first 3 films before they dropped the Child's Play name, instead now opting to use Chucky's name in the title, seeing as he had become quite the icon. And at the same time that the movie started being called Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, the tone shifted to more of a violent absurdity, which a lot of critics really did not like, but me personally, I love it.
It's up.
Following that particular era of violent absurdity, we had Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky, which went back to being these weird horror films that I don't know what they went for, but I still love them.
There is no God.
So as you can probably tell, the franchise underwent a lot of change and variation in both execution and style. Which brings us to today, with Mark Hamill voicing Chucky, who is now a smart device who plugs into the cloud. I think not getting to the point will become my trademark, because now I want to tell you guys about remakes. Specifically remakes of slasher franchises. And then we can talk about the movie, okay? About a decade ago, when we got a remake of an 80s slasher franchise, we began the same Michael Bay, gray and brown, crude humor fest.
For the record, you will never drink my piss.
That's what you think. Wear a condom. An extra small one.
A few examples would be the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, the Friday the 13th movie, the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, where they confirm Freddy Krueger to be a pedophile. How fun! Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Beginning, Texas Chainsaw 3D, Leatherface. That one is actually quite recent. I hope we get more. Fun fact, because Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street flopped so bad, they actually cancelled a gritty reboot of Child's Play, which I really do think was for the best. Now there's way more I'd like to talk about regarding this progression of what horror movies we've been getting, but that's for another video. I just want to talk about one notable remake that we got pretty recently, the Halloween remake. Now this movie I think was very good. But not because it was scary, no. But because it was fun. Just like those early 2000s crude horror movies mirrored what was popular at the time. The new Halloween film mirrored a sort of light-hearted tone that we see in what's popular right now. Marvel movies. If we were to call Halloween a superhero movie, however, the hero would not be Laurie Strode, but Michael Myers. When I saw the Halloween movie, I was happy to see that the creators had sort of come to a realization that they should have come to a long time ago, which was that Michael Myers is a horror icon. But as a horror icon, Michael Myers cannot be scary. When these classic 80s slasher villains were conceived, they were not conceived as characters who would be remembered fondly. They were simply created to embody the concept that the people making the movie wanted the audience to be scared of. When you watch the original Halloween, you're not supposed to be scared of Michael Myers specifically. You're supposed to be scared at the concept of a serial killer loose in what looks like a nice American suburb. When people went to go see Nightmare on Elm Street, they were not meant to be afraid of Freddy Krueger. They were meant to be afraid of the concept that nightmares could be more than just nightmares, that they could be a real, tangible force that could harm them. And when people went to go see Child's Play, the audience was not meant to fear Chucky, the fictional character. They were meant to go home and think twice before turning their back on that creepy doll in their house. In many ways, these characters have been divorced from their original meaning. Instead of being dreadful villains, they have become horror icons. They are now the heroes of horror. Just look at how many people dress up as them for Halloween. They're idolized, they're not feared. I don't want to say that there's anything wrong with horror icons. The last thing we need in the horror community is elitism. I love that the general public can idolize characters who are known for committing grisly, horrible murders. It gives me hope for a future where it can be Halloween all year. We'll talk about the movie now, okay? The movie starts off in a Vietnamese sweatshop, where a disgruntled worker intentionally codes a disable, amongst other things, the violence inhibitors on a buddy doll, which is what the good guy dolls are called now. So yeah, that's right. In this film, Chucky is no longer a doll possessed by a serial killer. He is a product of faulty coding, which I think is really great. I think it would have been really hard to do the possession thing again and not have it be a plot identical to the original movie. Even if they did manage to make some significant change to the premise with the possession of the doll, it would at least convoke comparison to the original, that this serial killer who possessed the doll is now to get the other one, and they want the other one back, and you know how people are. Anyway, enough about that. This time around, Andy is played by Gabriel Bateman, who I think really does a solid job. Nothing spectacular, you know, but when a kid actor does a bad job, he does a bad job, and Gabriel did a good enough job. Good job, Gabriel. He actually has some experience appearing in horror movies. He's been in such Blumhouse productions as Lights Out, Annabelle, and Benji. Now this is a really scary one.
You never know when you'll find someone who'll change your life. I just didn't expect he'd be this furry.
Your name? Where'd you come from, buddy? A trash can?
What are we gonna do?
Those two, they got nothing but love in them.
Benji. He gets a new home March 16th, only on Netflix.
Good night, Benji.
That is fucking disgusting. That's just fucking disgusting. That's vile. That is vile. Oh, fuck. Parents, don't show your kids that garbage. It'll rot their brains. God. Can you believe they're just allowed to make that kind of movie? God. Anyway. Karen, aka the mom, is played by Aubrey Plaza, which people were mad about before the movie even came out. Whether it's through the performance or the writing, Andy and Karen have a very good relationship in this movie. It's a son and a single mother who are very much down on their luck. And in this film, they do a very good job of portraying this sort of understanding relationship between the two of them. The only reason why she buys Andy the doll in the first place is because she thought it would be funny to buy this lame, weird doll for kids. It's good, it really is. Nothing too special, but it's nice to watch. You know, unlike the characters in the other movies. Instead of explaining the plot, I'm going to talk more about what drives the movie forward. Because if you want to know what happens in the movie, you should watch the movie. Even if you already know the whole plot, the real reason you go to watch a slasher movie is for the kills, isn't it? For the blood. For the gratification. Anyway. Along with changing the whole origin and premise for Chucky, they also chose to make Chucky not evil, which I think is a bold move, and I love it. As opposed to being this evil entity, Chucky is more of an innocent being who really started killing because of misunderstandings. Later on, when we can really start calling Chucky evil, it's really only because he was done dirty by Andy at a point, and kind of feels cheated and betrayed, which is quite understandable. Because really, Chucky's motivation for a large part of the film is that he just wants to make Andy happy. Really, the most evil line we get out of Chucky is, "If I can't be your friend, no one can." Which is quite tame compared to what the character is known to be.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
You know, the new Chucky's adorable. He's like a pug. Murderous pug. Chucky actually learns how to kill from watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. You know, this one. He sees Andy and his friends laughing at the grotesque, horrible gore and violence. He therefore infers that gore and violence equals happiness, which is not far off for horror fans, if we're being honest. And if that doesn't tell you that the creators had their hearts in the right place, I don't know what does. They have a scene where there's children laughing at horrible gore in a horror movie. They know what they're doing. Anyway, all you need to know is that Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a film filled with outlandish gore and colorful cinematography, very much like the new Child's Play movie. Comedy is really the next logical step to horror. I think Tobe Hooper, director of Texas Chainsaw, God, it's a long name, of TCM, understood this. He understood that he wouldn't be able to make the same movie twice, that his horror was understood now, that people knew Leatherface, that people would not be scared of Leatherface anymore. If you keep trying to make the same movie over and over again, eventually change will be forced upon you by the times.
Fuck with me? Huh? Fucker?
Instead of trying to make a Child's Play sequel, they try to make a fun horror movie that just so happened to have the Child's Play name on it. I'm going to finish up by talking about the kills and then my complaints, which are relatively very few. The kills, of course, are the most important part of any slasher movie. And yes, this, I think, does qualify as a solid slasher film. Despite having relatively few kills, there's only 3 extended kill scenes, which of course is a whole scene dedicated to the killing of one character, in as creative, gruesome, bloody, and fun a way as the writers can think of. The first 2 kills were quite satisfying, as they were characters that we were glad to see dead, especially the first one. The first kill was Aubrey Plaza's horrible, alcoholic, cheating boyfriend. The third one was a character we actually like, but I guess they had to kill her so that we felt somewhat antagonistic towards Chucky, because really, he's adorable. He's great. I love him. Anyway, you don't just want to see Chucky stabbing people. You don't want a kill to just be Chucky jumping at the camera and then we later find out that he stabbed the guy in the eye or the heart. That would be boring. So I was happy to see that the first kill in the movie was this convoluted, drawn-out, leg-breaking, head-smashing, face-peeling, face-nailing onto a watermelon kill. The second kill is even more convoluted than the first one, since it relied specifically on not Jack Black climbing on top of a buzzsaw, which Chucky would then topple, forcing not Jack Black to grab onto a steam pipe above him, which Chucky would heat up via the cloud, forcing him to fall down on the buzzsaw, therefore taking a buzzsaw to the crotch. I've said buzzsaw many times. We get a lovely jiggly leg prosthetic which just jumped. It's wonderful. Fuck. I meant table saw this whole time. Table saw. Should I redo the whole thing? No. I meant table saw. In retrospect, I think I was the only one in the whole theater laughing. Could I be the one in the wrong? Was none of that horrible violence actually funny? Am I just a deluded psychopath? Nah, it was just everyone else in the theater was wrong. Not me. I mean, a guy in the movie gets his throat shredded by a drone with inexplicably sharp wings. The same guy actually gets stabbed in the throat earlier in the movie, leading to, I think, one of the best moments in the whole film. He's wearing this big, dumb, horrible, ugly, buddy mascot costume and gets stabbed in the throat for no reason by Chucky. So as he's wobbling, dying, he takes out the mask and sprays the little girl in the face with all his blood. And it's great. I need more movies where children are sprayed with blood. Shit, I should not say that. That can get me in trouble. I'm just kidding. No, it was great. This dark humor, this, comedically utilized gore. Give me more of it. Give me more. Come on. Also, I don't think I stressed enough just how good the movie looks at certain points. They use a lot of very bright, neon-esque colors. There are scenes in the movie that look like this, like how this looks right now. And that's always good, as opposed to brown and gray. Again, another conscious choice by the filmmakers to, instead of going for the ugly, scary, creepy, dirty look, they chose to make it nice and colorful. And isn't that pretty? Don't you want a pretty movie? In the film, Andy does get a couple of, neighborhood kid friends, and I feel like they were really just forced in there so they could fulfill their Stranger Things quota. It's not that I dislike this trope, I actually really love it, but in this particular movie, you could tell that they really did not know what to do with these characters. These kid friends, they really just appear in a few scenes for banter, and play a minor role in the finale, but in the end they get locked out and don't really affect the story. There's actually 2 points in the movie where they get locked out of rooms and don't get to have an influence in the story. By that I mean they're all in a group, Andy gets separated from them, and then they don't do anything. I also feel like the big finale, they could have done a lot more with it. At the end, Chucky plugs into the cloud, and he takes control of several hundred, I think, other buddy dolls in the store and locks everyone in. But we only really see a few of them at a time, and I feel like they could have done something more with a bunch of chaos, maybe. A character with a flamethrower. I don't know, do something crazy with it. You've already... Go with it. Don't be scared. Just make it crazy. Are you saving it for the sequel? If so, okay. I'll be there. Oh my god, I just remembered. I think, don't take my word for it, but do take my word for it. Because there's, they have this weird teddy bear variety of Chucky doll with fangs and stuff. And I think there's a scene where one of them jumps at a lady and bites her in the throat, and she starts just waving around a teddy bear like the cat in Reanimator.
Get it off of me!
I think that happened, and I think it was great. So is this movie scary? Not really. Is this movie good? Kind of? Is this movie fun? Yeah. Will the whole world forget about this movie in a few months? They already have. Down in the comments, write the top 5 times that your iPhone has tried to kill you. Number 5. One time I accidentally got my iPhone stuck in my throat. Accidentally.